Guys, this is some type of news I never thought I would be discussing. We're talking today a disappearance. Figure skating almost turned into true crime today because it was reported a day ago that a figure skater was missing and the entirety of the police force in Moscow was looking for them. Thankfully, they've been found and they are safe and sound, but their disappearance reveals a lot of what we already knew about figure skating, that the environment is so toxic that it would just drive anyone to take extreme measures, like trying to escape, in my opinion, their captor or what they feel to be their captor, which in this case is, of course, their coach. Also, if I feel or sound a little bit sick, it's because I am getting over a cold, which is why I haven't posted any videos, but this is insane and we have to talk about it. So the person in question is Alina Gorbacheva. We'll get it right. Alina Gorbacheva. I hope that's right. So it was reported by the mother of the athlete who declared her missing, stating, Gorbacheva went missing around 7 p.m. the day before. The figure skater left the ice rink at the Chakalov Arena and headed towards the Vladimir Church. The last time she was captured on camera was at the address of blah 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 blah, property number 67. There's currently no information about Alina. We're still searching, and there are only camera recordings of her entering the park and nothing else. A cynologist with a dog has arrived and they will search, but a lot of time has already passed, said Alina Gorbacheva, which I believe to be the mother. Alina Gorbacheva is the 2023 Russian junior champion. According to Championat, Gorbacheva has been considering changing coaches from her current coach, Sofia Fedchenko. Keep that name in mind because we will discuss whatever kind of weird situation this coach has put her student in, and may currently be staying with one of her friends. That is what was believed at the beginning, is that Alina was staying, hopefully, with one of her friends. They just couldn't locate in which house that was. This information was reported by Championat with a reference to Shot Telegram channel. According to the source, there was a conflict between Alina's coach, Sofia Fedchenko, and the skater's mother, due to the fact that the coach, Sofia Fedchenko, took the girl away from her mother when she was only 9 years old. Gorbacheva was exchanging messages. Keep in mind that Alina is currently 16. That's a long ass time. Gorbacheva was exchanging messages with a friend shortly before her disappearance. Her friend didn't notice anything suspicious. The skater told her she was going to a training session and did not get in touch anymore after that. According to Baza, on the day of her disappearance, Alina Gorbacheva refused to go to practice on the day of the disappearance. So we know that she refused to go to practice. And then after that, she was just gone. Disappeared. Nobody knew where she was. They only found her skates. Yes, her figure skating skates. According to Baza, a conflict between Alina and Sofia Fedchenko occurred before the start of the training. So now we have two fights that have already happened. One between the mother of the child and the coach. And now on the day of the disappearance, one between the child and the coach, which occurred right before training. The girl ran into the locker room, and when Fedchenko entered, she only saw Gorbacheva's skates on the floor alone and no sign of the girl. Initially, the coaches thought that Alina was just upset, thinking that arguments happened and she would soon come back after taking a breath of fresh air, either to the ice rink or back home to Fedchenko's place, since the girl lives with the freaking coach. The coach and the student lived together since she was 9 years old and she's now 16. That is insane. However, nobody saw the skater after that. It became clear that Alina had disappeared. A search was initiated around the ice rink arena involving the police with search teams and dogs. Alina had her passport, cash, phone, tablet, and a dark blue backpack with her. How do they know this? Do they know this because of captured cameras, or she just went to take quote-unquote fresh air while having her passport, cash, blue backpack, and like her phone and tablet for some reason? We need double screening here. Like, this is a girl trying to escape. This is a girl trying to escape her captor. This is a girl trying to escape the situation that she's in. This is a girl trying to just get away. She didn't disappear. She ran away, but nobody had seen her since. During the night, search teams explored the park near the embankment and the church, precisely where she was last spotted by the cameras in 1908. Nevertheless, there were no traces of her. She didn't exit the park. Alina's information was entered into the facial recognition database, but so far the cameras in Moscow have yet to detect her. That is terrifying that exists, and probably in every big city. I had not thought of that. Facial recognition is coming to get us all. AI is gonna kill us, but that's not the point of the story. Now it's helping us find this girl. Later that day, as the hours went by and by, this girl was disappeared for 19 hours. That's nearly an entire day that nobody knew where this girl was. So later that day, Alina Gorbacheva's grandmother had revealed details about the argument between the granddaughter and the coach right before her disappearance. The junior champion of Russia disappeared in Moscow around 19 the day before, after leaving the ice rink at the Chakalov Arena. Last time she was seen on camera was at the address of the Shows Building 67. Gorbacheva is coached by Sofia Fedchenko. Grandmother states, I haven't talked to my granddaughter for a while. I saw her at a show. My granddaughter hasn't written anything to me lately. I spoke to my daughter today. My granddaughter had had an argument with the coach and left. We don't know the reason for the argument with the coach. For 3 years, the coach has forbidden Alina from communicating with us. So let's do the math here. So she moved in with the coach at 9 years old. Apparently that was still young enough for her to have some sort of contact with her family. But for the last 3 years, when she was 13, the coach had convinced Alina and the family somehow that no communication was the best way to go for her career, which is something we've heard before. I will get into it later, but Eteri has talked at length about using this strategy with some of her students, specifically Alina, and how she needed to be separated from her mom in order to succeed, which I think is insane. Freaking insane. But alas, let's continue reading. She said that to achieve success, you shouldn't communicate with the grandmother, father, mothers, or anyone. So rather than just one person in your family, like Eteri has talked about in the past, this coach said, you're not talking to anyone but me. Your family? Disconnected. This feels like Scientology. What is this? In the last 3 years, the coach even forbade us from meeting with her. So not only could they not communicate through phone, but they couldn't see her for the last 3 years. We kept silent so as to not spoil the child's career. That I don't understand. That's on you. How can you go silent when a coach says that? A coach? Figure skating is not that important. A coach? Not gonna let me see my child? Get out of here. My granddaughter never complained herself. The coach brainwashed the child. And you, apparently, because you permitted this to happen, or at least your daughter, the child's mother. But she never had a depressive state. This is a conversation that will continue to happen, which is that everybody involved wants to make sure and make it clear that Alina was not going through some sort of mental breakdown and that she was not suicidal. And I do believe she was going through some sort of breakdown. And as we've seen, literally on international television with Alexandra Trusova, this sport will break you down, especially if you're not able to see your family for 3 years. That's insane. She was more composed. Everything was fine. Alina has a card. This card is linked to the coach's phone. Like, even the freaking credit card is linked to the coach. Like, even her financial situation. She lives with the coach. She works with the coach. Her professional career is attached to the coach. And her money is also attached to the coach. Like, she basically took a kid. She took an entire entity. She absorbed it. After the argument, my granddaughter took 20 to 30,000 rubles and her passport. And she left the coach's apartment, said the skater's grandmother. That is not missing. She ran away. She tried to escape her captor. It is so clear to me, but everybody's like, she's disappeared. And of course there's fear because you don't know where she is, but nobody took her. She didn't disappear into thin air. She's trying not to be found. She's trying to get out of whatever situation she's in right now. The update to the story is that she was later found inside a shopping center after being seen on camera at a cafe buying food. And then she was later located within a theater, a movie theater in that same mall, I believe. Oh Lord, but let's read the statement about how she was found because it's crazy. The investigative committee of the Russian Federation has reported that the 16-year-old junior champion of Russia in figure skating, Alina Gorbacheva, has been taken to a unit of the Moscow Investigative Committee with the participation of the legal representative and a psychologist. Thank God a psychologist or a therapist or anyone, any adult you can talk to is around. Gorbacheva went missing in Moscow on Monday evening after leaving the ice rink at the Chakalov Arena and not returning home. The main investigative directorate of the Investigative Committee of Russia Federation in Moscow initiated a preliminary investigation into the athlete's mysterious disappearance. Again, not mysterious, not a disappearance. She ran away. Why am I the only one getting this? And later, a criminal case was opened under the charge of murder. Jesus Christ, they were preparing for finding a body. My God. On Tuesday, the prosecutor's office reported at 13 Moscow time that Gorbacheva was captured on a surveillance camera in a cafe in this area. Later on, the Emercon employees participating in the search for the athlete informed Match TV that she was seen in the vicinity of the Moscow road. In the evening of that Tuesday, the Moscow prosecutor's office located her within a cinema in one of the shopping centers. According to the preliminary information, no illegal actions have been taken against her, which just tells me that she was safe and sound in body. Like physically, she was okay. Currently, her life and health are not under threat. Thank God. The minor has been brought to a unit of the Moscow Investigative Committee with the participation of her legal representative and a psychologist. Investigators have started conducting investigative actions with her, basically trying to put a timeline together of what she did. Gorbacheva is the winner of the junior championship in Russia in 2023. So all of this is happening, just to give you a little backstory of who Gorbacheva even is, because I'm pretty sure I've never talked about her on the channel. Just earlier this year, she, as has been said many times again, she was the winner of the juniors circuit for Russia in 2023. And earlier this month, August 17th, it was reported that she had an injury and that she was recovering from that injury and trying to attempt triples, like triple jumps. And then on August 19th, it was reported by her, quote from her, saying jumping is such a thrill and she's ready to get back in there in the rink. And she was just talking about the season. Come to find out, shit has hit the fan. And she lives with her coach and she's trying to escape her coach and nobody can find her. Like, this is how I found out who this girl was. I don't really follow the juniors in Russia anymore since they've been banned internationally. It's not like they're gonna come into the senior international circuit. They just kind of stay within Russia. And unless, to be completely honest, unless it's a Terry girl and I see them being prepped and held up as the next heir to succeed, you know, Kamila Valieva's post as the golden child, I don't really pay attention to the juniors anymore. But this situation has gotten now all my attention because it's just so reminiscent of just how toxic the coaching situation is in Russia. Because this practice of keeping the students away from the family in order to make them stronger, in order to help their career, is not unheard of, is not uncommon. And the first example I thought of is Alina Sagitova, Olympic champion Alina Sagitova. Excuse the sirens if you can hear them. But honestly, yeah, bring the sirens. We're here to get you. You're arrested. I am Chris Hansen. Like, this is a sting operation and we're arresting all of you involved. Because how are you doing this to these children? Terry has talked at length, I believe in the documentary right before the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics. She talked about how Alina had been once kicked out of the academy by Terry Tutberidze. And she said that the reason she had been kicked out is because her skills had gone down because her mom showed up again. And as soon as her mom showed up, Alina became mommy's little girl, whatever that means, and her skill just went down because she wanted to spend all day with mom instead of all day at the rink. Kill her, what a criminal. And then after that, after having a conversation with her mother and making her promise that she was not going to visit, and instead Alina was just going to live with her grandmother, and the grandmother was just going to stay with her at the rink, but like not do anything besides taking her back and forth from the rink. After essentially promising that she was going to leave her child behind and not try to contact her too much and not try to distract her, that was the only reason why Alina got to stay. And Terry gave her a second chance, and according to Terry, the reason why her skills got so good to the point where she became Olympic champion. But that practice is insane. Freaking insane. And the only difference here is that Terry, because she's a big coach with a lot of funding behind her, students don't really live with her anymore. Maybe earlier in her career they did if they had to be in Moscow and they were from the countryside. But now they subside these students, the ones that they deem talented. They give them funding, they give them scholarships, they help them find housing. And Alina at that time was just kind of moved into her grandmother's house in Moscow. But this coach, Sofia Fechenko, she doesn't have those kind of resources. So when she found a diamond in the rough, her most famous student, which is Alina Gorbacheva, but when she found this girl, since the age of 9, she moved her into her house. It just has become kind of her pet project is what I can feel. And that dynamic must be so toxic. I think it's to the point where there are laws in most developed countries, including the US, where you can't live with your coach when you're at a high competitive level. Another person I talked about or thought about was Donovan Carrillo from Mexico. He famously lived with his coach, and it was shown in the documentary. And the reason why is because he had to live away from his family and closer to the rink. And in Mexico, there's just not that many ice rinks. So he chose to live with his coach. And now he has moved away into another country. So that situation is not going on anymore. But that's just, I don't think there's any moment where you can justify living with your coach for an extended period of time. Maybe before you find your own housing. But you should never, ever live with your coach. Especially when the dynamic's so rough. Like 9. The girl was 9 and now she's 16. And according to her family members, her uncle and her grandmother, for the last 3 years, they have not been in communication with the child because of the coach. Because the coach told her, do not talk to your family. And told the family, do not talk to your child. And they just complied. According to reports, the mom lives in the city. The child escaped and did not go to the parents' house. Instead, it spent the night at a residential building staircase and then went to the cinema to get some sleep because she wasn't able to sleep at the freaking staircase she spent the night at. Like, this is insanity, and it just kind of once again showcases how toxic and cutthroat and effed up, just straight up effed up it is to be a young competitive skater in Russia, because you're just meant and expected to go through these very traumatic things that are not normal. Living with your coach is not normal. Like being taken away from your family at 9 years old and then told at 13 you can't talk to them anymore in order to help your career. And maybe the family agreed to it because it would put her in a position to gain a lot of money, because it is a very lucrative career in Russia. But it's just weird, and the fact that nobody's catching this, the fact they're calling this, you know, it was a disappearance, but it wasn't like she was captured. The fact they opened a murder case just in case, like somebody had kidnapped her, like they couldn't conceive of the idea that she ran away. She had her passport, a phone, a tablet, 30 rubles in cash, and her freaking backpack. Like, she ran away straight up. That is basically the picture under the definition of running away. Another thing that has been commented a lot is the fact the coach is very young. So a lot of people say they have a mother-daughter dynamic, but it's almost like a sister dynamic. But her being 9, it feels weird, man. It just feels weird. Alina's uncle put out another statement. Alina's uncle actually was the one who called the coach toxic. I've yet to hear Alina say that, or her mother say that, or even her grandmother say that. No blame has been put on the coach, with the exception of the uncle who said the toxic trainer was very strong, fenced off from all relatives, and turned her, Alina, against all relatives. I just didn't communicate with the coach, so she didn't communicate with me. The coach did not impress me in any way. She does not do things quite right for me. She does not communicate with those who do not communicate with her coach. Like, it's going to that point where the coach is the lock and key. She is the gatekeeper to the student. And now the student is actually having national success. I can only imagine how much that has exacerbated, how much worse it has gotten. Now let's talk about the reactions in Russia, because as outraged as I am, not a lot of people are outraged. There's a lot of people who think, oh, thank God that they found her. That was very scary, but also she should know better. The child who has been put through hell, apparently, should have known better. We were very worried, and this was very inconvenient. Like, what? It's giving K-pop press when somebody's dating. Like, people apologizing for being human. Like, she should not be apologizing for anything, which she did. We will read that statement later on. Very sketchy apology. Feels like somebody yelled at her. But let's see the reactions when it was posted by the police that they had found her on camera, that they had located her in that cafe. Yagurin, the asshole of all assholes, the douche of all douches, right below, or maybe in this case above Lushenko, posted on his story with a picture of the camera footage saying, Bon appetit, Alina, with a face palming meme. What? This kid just ran away. There's been a manhunt to find her, and your reaction is to make a bad joke with a face palming meme on your story? First of all, who asked you? Why are you doing this? And it's not funny, bro. Like, what? Also, I'm not proud to say this, but if Kenya Medvedeva made a comment, and I don't think I fully agree, the love of my life might have to be knocked down a few after this, but let's read it in full. If Kenya Medvedeva was asked her opinion on the situation and the fact that she was found, and Medvedeva replied, in this whole situation, there's a lot that's incorrect. We don't know all the details. We can discuss, but we shouldn't condemn. It's definitely not up to us to figure out. This matter has reached the prosecutor's office. Okay, so don't send the kid hate, essentially. She continues, I will keep my own opinion to myself because there will certainly be people who think I'm wrong and they'll keep dissecting this. And yet, she continued to speak. Right now, that's not the most important thing, talking about her opinion. The most important thing is that the person is alive and that things are okay in terms of human life. What would happen next? We'll see. But the situation overall is not great. The only thing I'll remind everyone is that even though she may look 12, she's already 16. And this is when I started face palming. Like, what? What are we going? Where are we going with this, baby? She said, at this age, a person should already take responsibility for themselves and their actions. No, maybe you take responsibility if you throw trash on the ground. That you can do when you're 16. But to say that you should take responsibility for trying to escape a toxic environment in the only way you thought was possible because you've been physically removed from your safety net that is your family, and they might possibly have consented to have you removed from them. And on top of everything, your coach is the person your whole life is connected to, and you decide to make your escape. I don't think that's something you need to take responsibility for. Like, nothing was done wrong. Maybe tell your family you're coming. Maybe that could have been said. But who knows? Maybe she wasn't trying to go to her family. Maybe she was trying to go to her friends. Maybe she didn't have a plan. But she tried to remove herself from a toxic situation. I don't think that's something she should need to publicly apologize for. Alas, we continue. She says, of course, there are factors like mental health, which is crucial, and the family situation. We know that before the situation, the athlete was not living with her family, but with her coach. That in and of itself is a strong psychological stress, in my opinion. I wouldn't be able to do that. Could you imagine if Kenya Medvedeva had lived with a Terajut Beritze during the whole debacle? I don't think she would have been able to survive that. I agree. I don't think you would have been able to do that. And we thought Trusova and then Sherbakova rooming together in the Olympics was crazy. That would have been insane. Eteri and Kenya, Jesus Christ. She continues, what happened? No one knows. But the person is already quite grown up. Oh God, what is the condescending tone, Medvedeva? Come on. That's why the situation is causing such a resonance. She says, as someone who has been in sports constantly, I don't understand this situation. How can you allow a 16-year-old, even though she looks 12, to just go back to a park somewhere alone? And I think the reason Medvedeva doesn't understand this is because she has a very, very strong mama bear. Like, notoriously strong mama bear. She continues, in my case, I also look much younger than my age. My mom or grandma would take me from home to practice and practice to the car and back home, always asking, where are you? What are you doing? Some form of supervision. Because firstly, it's sports, and secondly, you're a child, at least in appearance. No, you're a child too at 16, not just in appearance. A person who looks 12, how can you just let them walk around like that? Okay, so she wasn't just walking around. She was literally in an ice rink full of people. She just escaped. She literally had a plan, people. Why am I the only one seeing this? She had a getaway plan. She had a getaway bag. She had a running, she planned this. allegedly, or I believe in my strong opinion, I'm pretty sure that she planned this. Like, there's just no doubt in my mind that she just was like, I'm out. I've been thinking about it and I'm taking the bag. I'm out. But the way Medvedeva was talking about it, I think the reason she doesn't even comprehend how this can happen is, one, I don't think she would walk away from the rink like that unless she was possibly living with Beritze. Maybe that would have put you to the edge. Maybe then you would understand Medvedeva. But then two, she has a really strong mama bear in her mom and her grandmother, like very strong. Like the mother, Terry has talked about in interviews that the reason she doesn't get close to her students anymore is because of a fight she had with Medvedeva's mother, because her and Medvedeva were really close. Like, she felt like Medvedeva was her child, and that brought problems with the mom because the mom wasn't just gonna lay down and take it. And I think she's very much an exception to the rule if we were to go by this mother of Alina Gorbacheva and then Alina Sagitova. Now that I realize it, what's going on with the Alinas? If you have a daughter named Alina, hug your child a little bit closer in Russia. Come on now. But essentially, I feel like she was very condescending, and it's mainly because this is just something that she wouldn't do, and she doesn't understand because her family dynamic was very different. But she's always been the exception to the rule in terms of the coaching. Like, she had a coach that I don't know if she was nicer to Medvedeva. I'm pretty sure she was probably rougher on Medvedeva because she was the favorite student, but she was the favorite student. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that Alina Gorbacheva is the favorite student, but that's not because she has a lot of students, because she's the only student. She is the only rising star. You know what I mean? She's the only thing that coach has. And on top of that, they literally are raising you from the age of 9. Like, it's just a dynamic that none of us, including Medvedeva, who lived through the toxic ass system of Russia, can put herself in those shoes, because this situation is just so freaking extreme that it makes no sense. It blows my freaking mind. But then, after she was found, Alina Gorbacheva, I'm pretty sure, was forced to make a public statement just because of all the public news and national news that this disappearance has made. She says, I apologize. Jesus Christ. She shouldn't be apologizing, but here we are. I apologize for making everyone worried and concerned about me. Everything is fine now. I'm home with my beloved coach and mother. Don't worry, my actions have nothing to do with figure skating or Sofia Anatolatova-Fedchenko, my coach. I will continue training with my team and will delight you with new performances! Exclamation point. We are all good. Don't believe the media and the so-called bloggers, she wrote on her Instagram. Essentially saying, I am a-okay, everything is fine, my beloved coach and mother had nothing to do with it, and my disappearance had nothing to do with my figure skating or my coach. Bye. What? Like, what are you talking about? It had everything to do with your coach. It had everything to do with your disappearance. You escaped from a training rink. You left away your skates like Cinderella, running away from the prince in ice skates. And instead of the prince, you were running away from a stepmother, which is your coach. Like, it has everything to do with it. And the fact that she's being made to put out a statement out there just shows you how cruelly the press has reacted. There's been people out here saying that her living with her coach is very normal. I did it, which has the same energy of, like, if I suffered, you should suffer too. Tatiana Tarasova had probably one of the worst takes, one of the worst reactions to the situation, stating, you need to ask her about such a trick. Didn't she know that all of Moscow was looking for her? How is that possible? This new generation shows how they wanted to spit on everything and everyone. She did not think about her coach, with whom she lives with. She did not think about her parents. She did not think about her fans. I hope she understands that this will mark her future. What? Like, now you're threatening her with her future? You're saying that it wasn't considerate of her to not tell her parents where she was? What if her parents are also as toxic as her coach? And that's why she just ran away without any plans, without telling anyone. Then there was other people saying that she should know better than to run away every time she has a fight with her coach, as if, like, this is the first time they've ever fought and she just immediately ran away. Like, nobody knows anything. But the few details we do know are disturbing enough to make me worried. Since 9 years old, living with her coach, and for the last 3 years, according to 2 of her family members, she has been in zero contact, like zero. Not with the mother, not with the father, not with the grandfather, not with the uncle, no one. And then she wouldn't talk to anyone unless it was through her coach? That is insane. That is crazy. Am I the only one here, Russia? Come on, Russia. You need to level with me. At least Medvedeva admitted that she should not live with her coach. She said that it's troublemaker, that she could not do it. And if we should listen to someone in terms of how toxic it is, Medvedeva should know that. Come on now. Like, this child chose to sleep on the steps rather than come back. That says a lot. And I don't know, the situation, I'm just happy she was found. I'm happy she is safe. I'm really not happy to know that she's back. If she's truly back in the coach's house, I hope that she's back with her family, but I don't even know if I can trust the family. Like, this is a lot. And I don't know what's best for the child. And I don't even think the child knows what's best for her either, because she hasn't known any better since she was 9. And she is the Russian champion for the juniors, so I doubt that the federation or anyone in her family or anyone in her life would advise her to step away from figure skating. But that's what I would think she needs. Step away, she has an injury, let her rest, take a few months off, just figure out if she really wants this. She probably doesn't even know if she wants to because she's just been doing it. But yeah, that was the whole ordeal. I am very happy that they found her, and I just don't know how else we can just look at figure skating in Russia the same, knowing that these are the kind of situation. Like, this is not even a Terry girl that gets like all the press all the time, and this is still happening. I mean, she's not on the fringe of figure skating society. She is a champion, a national champion, but if this is happening to a champion, what the hell is happening in the shadows? You know what I mean? Like, it just, if every single Olympics did not make you want to like squirm a little bit every time you saw one of these Russian very young girls trying to make it, this situation at least should, because now I'm just thinking about all the parallels that this has had with other stories I've seen, like Donovan Carrillo living with his coach, and Terry speaking at length about how she has done this practice before with people like Alina, and it quote-unquote worked. The fact that she couldn't see her mom for a few years was what gave her the medal. That should not be the lesson here. And the fact that this is going to continue to happen, and that the kid is possibly back in the coach's house and just right back where she began, makes me nervous. Makes me really nervous. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because this is crazy. This is insane. In happier news, Anna Shebakova went to China and she felt like a rock star. And I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like Anna Shebakova is finally getting her dues. She's finally getting that Olympic champion kind of moment, rose petal moment, star of the night situation. You know, she really is beloved in China, possibly because she won the medal there, and her Chinese fan treated her right. I'll say that. They freaking treated her right. Everywhere she went, it was crowds. Every event she did was decorated beautifully. Every time she performed, people were cheering, and the amount of plushies they threw on the ice made her literally gasp, and me too. It was insane. The quality of fan videos I made just from that trip alone just shows how much support she's gonna have for the rest of her career. Like, these fans are ride or die. They are K-pop level loyalty fans, and I'm just really happy that she's finally getting the spotlight, because another toxic moment of Russian figure skating kind of overshadowed everything, and I'm just really happy that she had that moment. And I was gonna make a feel-good video about Anna Shebakova, but this crazy thing happened, and I just hope that, I don't know, if another little girl in Russia is about to live with her coach and sees the story, they choose against it, like, that's the best that we can hope for, because I have a bad feeling that we're gonna see Alina Gorbacheva in competition with her coach again. And when they ask her if they're still living together, she's gonna say yes with a smile, and that's just terrifying. But yeah, that's all I got to say for this video. That was a lot.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
Breaking fucking news, because A, I am feeling way better, as you can hear from my voice, but B, what the hell is going on with this spiritual successor of Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer, the only ice dance team who I even care about, the ones who have millions of fans on TikTok, literally their edits get millions and millions upon millions of views. Valeriy and Vasilisa have broken up. They are partners no more. Their ice dance team is finito, and she has announced this after rumors swirled around that they ended their partnership, and she just confirmed it on Instagram, and I am losing my mind because this was the last thread, the last strand keeping me together with ice dance. Yeah, Lila, Fear, and oh my god, what's the name of the boy? Fear and Gibson are amazing, but I don't have that emotional connection that I do with Valeriy and Vasilisa. And honestly, they were the saddest part of the Russians not being allowed international competitions. I just really wanted them to just prove themselves on international stage, because I truly believe they are the best. And freaking Diana and Gleb out here still participating because they moved to the US, when Valeriy and Vasilisa should be given that chance to be in the main stage. But that doesn't even matter anymore, because they're over, and I cannot believe it. And everyone on TikTok who, again, they're probably the only ice dance team that I've seen that have this much fanfare around him, this much fans, just amount-wise. Like, the amount of edits I've seen of them and people just fangirling over their interactions who have no idea who they are. Like, they were a beacon of light for figure skating. They were bringing ice dance to the forefront. They were bringing attention and popularity to the sport, and now it's just over, and I cannot get over it. So let's just read the statement from Vasilisa. Dear friends, you may have already seen the news. Our pair no longer exists. Literally crying. It's true, it's not fake, and I want to tell you the truth. I have never brought disputes out into the open, but now I won't stay silent. When I read this, I was like, damn, I thought they were getting along. The edits fooled me. It all started on 4th of July. Valeria told me he did not want to skate with me anymore. I know the reason perfectly well. He had told it to his friend and my mother, and it had nothing to do with figure skating. It was frankly speaking personal. I won't go into details. Damn, I want the details, as I consider it inappropriate. But the next day, he changed his mind and started saying that he didn't want to skate because he wasn't satisfied with how I trained. so he made it from personal to professional. He claimed I was mistreating him, working poorly, treating him horribly, and so on and so forth. Angelika, Alexiana, Krylov, whatever, I'm guessing their coach, and I did everything to save the pair, and for a while it worked. We discussed everything and prepared for test skates during that time, but 3 days ago, Valeriy brought a contract to practice and informed me that if I didn't sign it by September 1st, like it's a freaking lease, he wouldn't skate with me. The contract was about making me full provision for him. I don't even know what that means. Is that a bad translation? You can see the content for yourselves. I've attached a photo. We tried to talk. Angelika, our coach, suggested various other solutions, but Valeriy said it was his condition, and only under those conditions would he, against his own will, skate with me. Neither I nor my family nor my coach, no one was willing to work under such conditions. That's why we're not skating together anymore, and it's not a mutual decision. But Valeriy is alone, so she's like, everybody mad at him, I didn't do anything. But I am grateful for these 5 years. Oh my God. There were so many good moments and victories. I learned a lot during these years, and I'm moving forward. I love what I do, and I am filled with motivation to continue skating, but with a different partner. Thank you for all the fans for your support. What? What? And I need someone to translate this contract ASAP, because it is in Russian and I don't understand it. I'm gonna put it on screen. Somebody put it in the comments. I can't believe this is happening right now. This is the last shred of, like, I am losing my mind. They were the only thing keeping me in ice dance. I'm not kidding. I've been spending the last few minutes trying to figure out if I can locate a full translation of the contract, but all I can find is people talking about what is in the contract. This is the most clear, concise, kind of listed thing that I can find about the translation of the contract. And it says that the attached photo says that Vasilisa, the girl in the partnership, would have to provide inventory, extra ice time, coaching, skating lessons, expert consultation, expenses for camps and competitions, including travel and lodging, medical expenses, insurance, choreographers, music editor, dance lessons, and so on and so forth. Like, what? This cannot be real. Like, he wanted all of this from his ice dance partner? Because why? Because she first offended him personally and then professionally somehow in his head? And it's so confusing because this is the same couple, like I said, that has become famous essentially for their ship, I Love Virtue and Moyer, which is why I say they're like kind of like spiritual successors, because not only are they very similar in terms of emotional connection and telling a story on the ice, they have this rabid fanfare and fan base behind them on social media, which is very similar to Virtue and Moyer. And so all these videos where people literally today, I think someone posted just a recap of them together because they were heartbroken about them breaking up. But of course it blew up. It has like 200,000 likes, millions of views, and all the comments are like, look at the way he looks at her. They're so in love. He wants her. And it's always about him because he's very affectionate with her physically. But that could also be possessive, like on the ice, or just him. That's how he is as a person. So essentially, don't be fooled by freaking edits, because behind the scenes, this is what's happening. He's demanding money in order to skate with her and continue to skate with her. And unless it was signed like some sort of legal hell contract, he was not going to skate with her anymore. Like, that is insanity. Insanity. I guess is where the Virtue and Moyer comparison ends completely, because this is not a partnership. Like, he wanted it to be some sort of, I don't know, hire, like partner for hire. And I know that in some instances, it has been said, it has been rumored that very wealthy skaters, their parents in the US specifically, or Canada, will literally ship these boys from other countries, mostly from Russia, and pay for their lodging and expenses and flights and help them with their American or Canadian visa in order for their daughter to have a male ice dancer who's at their level. Like, that is very common. But this is not a situation. They're both from Russia. They both came from the same system, a state-sponsored system already that is being subsidized by the freaking government in order for them to get to this level that they're at. And they are truly the best in their country right now. And they do this. They're very young, extremely young. And now that she kind of exposed how ridiculous he is, I mean, one could only dream, but my wish would be that he would grovel and beg for forgiveness and realize how dumb and freaking unbelievable this is. Because she said, the only reason we're breaking up is because of him, not me. This is involuntary. I do not want to stop skating with him, but he's making it impossible for us to continue skating together because he wants this and that, which is ridiculous. And so I'm hoping that he would react in the way of like, I'm so sorry. But knowing that he's a man and knowing that he's this kind of man that expects him to be taken care of every step of the way, I'm guessing he's gonna be vindictive. And now the best I can hope for is that we'll get a really good rivalry, that they'll both re-partner, and that the partners will somehow in some way be just as good than they're each other's main rival. That is a great friends to enemies to hopefully back again as partners storyline, fan fiction I'm building up in my head. But that's literally the only good outcome of this is that possibly maybe we divide a really good team and make it into two, and then we have two really good teams. But the reality is that ice dance is so much about connection that even if they do get the best partners ever, it would take years before they get to a place where it's comfortable and it's at the same level of perfection and intimacy and trust that they have right now. They've skated for 5 years together, and they are by far the most popular ice dance couple in the world, I would say, right now, that is still competitive. Not anyone retired, not Paparakis and Cizeron, not Virtue and Moyer, or Hubble and Donahue. Those are all retired. But current ice dance couples, the only big one, I'm telling you, even my friends send me TikToks about them together, and they're like, who are these? These are cool. It's Valeriy and Vasilia, because they're just shippable, and they're attractive, and they're very fucking talented, and they're young, and they have promise, and now they're over. And I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is throwing me for a spiral, and I just don't understand it. Like, why would they break up? And why would they break up in this way? This is such a ridiculous way to break up too. Like, what is this? What is this? Why? What in his head? I'm hoping maybe it was like a petty thing. It's like, sign it. But what if he was trying to trap her legally somehow? That's insane. It's freaking insane. I don't understand it, and it really hurts my soul. And like I said, I really hope they just work it out, that the public shaming puts him back in the right mindset and they get back together. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think this boy holds a grudge, and I'm sad. I'm freaking sad about it. Jesus Christ. And I'm just gonna go and watch compilations at every single one of their programs. Their Romeo and Juliet changed my life. I'm not even kidding. Even their bachata dance. I was so proud of the fact that they made bachata. I made a short about it because I'm Dominican. I was like, yay, bachata. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Russia needs to calm down. Y'all are not even involved in international competition. Could you imagine? I have a theory that if they were in international competition, this wouldn't be happening. I think this is just a lot of bubbling up from the frustration of not being able to give some sort of meaning to their skating, because yeah, they're still skating nationally, but they're not truly competing, you know? And I think tensions are high. Kids are running away, couples are breaking up, freaking the trial for Kamila Valieva is coming close, and the US skating team is trying to get a seat in the freaking courtroom to see it go down. Like, the tension, we're getting to the climax, people, of Russian figure skating, and I don't know what's gonna happen, and it's terrifying, and I have no freaking clue where this is all gonna end up. But let me know what you guys think below in the comments, and hopefully I don't get interrupted anymore on this video. And as always, shout out to Katie, Corina, Leslie, Timothy, Tori, and V. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.